Marketing, right? The topic is building your brand in a noisy world. I mean, between online and social, how do you break through that clutter of sounds, of bytes, of messages? What I'm going to do today to set up our two gurus here is to talk about what is a brand, really, first. So we know the brands that we grew up with. If I said to you, we bring good things to life. Yeah. Who is that? Right. Just do it. This bud's for you. I gave that one away. Forget that one. Anyway, so that we know that, right? And we think that I came out of Madison Avenue, so I worked. As a young copywriter, I worked on big brands immediately. So I got, in my mind, I was just like grilled on branding, branding, branding. You don't sell a copier machine. You sell the company, right? It's the brand behind the machine, behind the product. So with that, I just want to talk about just basic, what is a brand, so we can just set the stage for the rest of talk. A brand is, first of all, it's the most valuable asset you have in your company, or at least one of them. But when companies buy companies, they don't buy, the product. They don't buy the service. They buy the brand and what that means, okay? So it starts off as a clear and compelling statement and graphic, a logo graphic mark, that is your promise of value to your prospective customers. And how that promise is meaningfully different, that is really important, meaningfully different from your competition, all right? And why that difference will be important to your customer. How is your brand meaningfully different from the rest of your competition out there? That's probably the most important question I'll leave you. Branding is not just for the big boys, right? We think that they have tons of money, and of course they drive their message all the time. But it is more important for us in this room to know your brand and drive your brand, and to put a stake in the ground on who you are, the unique promise that you make. So I want to just tell you how I began. Pucci was one of the beginning designer pet products, right? I realized at that time, even before I made my first collar and leash, that I was building a brand. I wasn't doing designer collars. I wasn't doing designer leashes. This is when milk bones were the gift for dogs. And we started with the name Pucci, which sounded like Gucci, and we went from there. And from the day one, I realized that what I wanted to do was we made great products, fashion for pets, but way back when. But I wanted to build a brand, and I said, in 5 years, I want to sell this company. And every decision I made from that point on was about, I developed my brand and the look and feel of my brand, and every decision was based on that. Our tagline was the end of doggy dullness. And we ended up in 4 years selling that company to a multi-billion-dollar company that wanted to move their brand upscale. So that's the thing. They didn't buy sweaters for dogs. They didn't buy the collars and leashes, which you can't see right now, but they bought a brand. And that's the most important thing. So I drove Pucci onwards. Okay, BioShield paints. Half the builders in the room must know. They were a client of mine at the time. And we realized, back to how do you market something, we realized it wasn't necessarily people come to paint their walls. They paint it because it's beautiful, right, to make something beautiful. And the secondary message was it was green. And by the way, that's a really important thing for your green marketers. It's first, how can you solve their problem, and it happens to be green too, okay? So we came up with the tagline, beauty without the beast, right? And it was a very successful campaign for them. Growstone is another company of mine, and this logo actually just won an award. Join the growing revolution. They take all of the glass out of the Santa Fe and Albuquerque landfill, 250 tons a month, and they repurpose it into a growing medium that grows plants hydroponically and also a soil blended. They're growing a revolution, and this became their brand image. With social media, we just hit, actually, we're over 30,000 fans in just a little over 2 years. But taking that message and driving it over and over again on their not only on their website, but in social. So just to summarize for just your basic brand, first do your homework, okay? Call me up. I'll give you my questionnaire. Do that homework, and then really learn what's meaningfully different from you, from your competition. Okay? And from that, it's like from that everything else comes. Okay? Then you have to distill all that down into a few words, which is your tagline, and then your ultimate image. After you do your homework, you drive that message. You drive it consistently, ongoingly, and you don't stop. You don't go off to the left, and you don't go off to the right. You keep really direct on your message. And you're going to get so sick of it, but you get to have to repeat it and repeat it and repeat it, so it becomes like the ultimate driving machine. You get it like that. Be consistent, okay? If you just did that, like ongoing with marketing, just keep on going and not stopping, you're way ahead of the crowd, because what I see is great marketing coming out, and then it like dies on the branch, or they get another idea and you go off to this tangent. And that's such a no-no with branding, okay? How is your brand meaningfully different from the rest of your competition out there? That's probably the most important question I'll leave you. And by the way, I have a branding questionnaire that if you're interested at the end, give me your card and I'll send that off so you can do your own homework.